In the last 2 months, all of us in the country have only been talking about the Sushant Singh Rajput death case and the many twists and turns in the investigation. 24/7, that's the only focus. But in the process, there are many stories, many news breaks that affect your and my life, that have gone completely neglected, that have been ignored. So our focus in this video and our attempt in this video is to highlight some of these issues that need your attention immediately. First is with regards to the coronavirus crisis in India and the alarming rise in the number of cases. I'm sure you've read about how we've gone over the 42 lakh mark now. That means that there have been 42 lakh confirmed COVID cases in India. Very worrying numbers because the death toll also has crossed 71,000. This effectively means that India is now the worst affected country in all of Asia. We're the epicenter of COVID-19 in Asia. We're the second worst affected country in the world after the United States. We've effectively overtaken Brazil as the number 2 worst affected country in the world. Yes, our recovery rate is good, but there's also a need, and the need of the hour is to focus in ensuring that we control the spread of the infection. Why? Because on September 6th, India saw nearly 90,000 cases being recorded in a matter of 24 hours. And this means that we have the record, we have the unenviable record of being the only country that's recorded 90,000 cases in a single day. The second issue that I'd like to highlight and that perhaps needs a lot more attention is that of the shrinking economy. The economy was already in a mess even before this pandemic hit, so you can only imagine how bad the impact of coronavirus has been on the economy. The GDP numbers, for instance, it's slumped to an all-new low. The quarterly figures for the April-June period of 2020-2021. It's contracted by 23.9%. Yes, we expected that the GDP's numbers would be bad, that our economy would be hit hard, but even experts didn't expect it to be this bad. We're talking about several sectors being so badly hit that they will take perhaps months or even years to recover. And with the GDP numbers showing that there's been this kind of a record slump, let me just highlight here that since 1996, which is when we started getting these quarterly figures, it's never been this bad. Our GDP figures have never reached this low. Another issue that we should be talking about is our unemployment figures. Over 18.9 million salaried individuals. Let me repeat that, 18.9 million salaried individuals. That's about 21% of the overall workforce. They lost their jobs during this pandemic. Urban employment, which basically represents a bulk of salaried jobs in the country, that's dwindling at an alarming rate. It's dwindling with every passing month. In fact, there have been several predictions that have been put out by experts that say that things are not going to get better. It could only get worse if this issue of unemployment is not immediately addressed. How bad could it get? Well, the wealth gap in India, something that's always been a problem in the country, could actually widen, could actually increase, as indicated by a World Bank report, which suggests that 1.2 crore people in India could be pushed into extreme poverty in the months to come if immediate dire measures aren't taken up to address the issue of unemployment. Now, another issue that was trending on social media was that of the SSC exams and the delay in declaring the results. I'm sure you'd have seen in the last few months hashtags such as Speak Up for SSC Railway students. That was trending because several of these students had come together to highlight the fact that there was such a long delay in the declaration of the results, leaving many students in the lurch and their futures uncertain. There were over 3 million posts on this particular issue on social media, many of them raising their voices, joining the chorus over the delay in the announcement of the results of the SSC exams and also for the postponement of the RRB NTPC exam. So what exactly is this delay? This is the Staff Selection Commission, the SSC exams. These exams actually happened last year in 2019 and people are yet to get their results. They're yet to find out how they fared in those exams. So the official notification for the examination, I'm not talking about the results, but the exam itself, that was issued in March 2019. And since then, there's been absolutely no word on the results. Keep in mind that over 1.5 crore applications were received and this was for 90,000 jobs. So you can imagine how many people have been left in the lurch by the fact that the results have still not been declared. Another possible headline is that of the price hike. There's been a huge spike in the retail vegetable prices. It's due to a number of factors, including excessive rainfall, and of course you've got a lot of seasonal problems which has led to this spike in vegetable prices. I told you about how there is an issue of the shrinking economy, about unemployment, so people are already struggling. Add to their woes the fact that you've got vegetable prices, skyrocketing at an alarming rate. That is another issue that must be addressed immediately, because these are problems that affect you and me, that affect the Aam Aadmi of this country. And that's not the only worry. There's also the issue of fuel prices that continue to go up. There was a point when every single day there was a substantial rise in petrol and diesel prices. Take a look at the figures in Delhi alone. At this point, petrol is at 81 rupees and 73 paise per litre, while diesel, the prices are at 73.56 rupees per litre. This is currently in Delhi, and in many other cities, the prices are either more or less, but it is still at a record high. Now, the sixth headline, the sixth issue that I believe there should be a lot more focus on is crimes against women. During the lockdown, during the pandemic, incidents of domestic violence were on the rise. What we're also seeing is several horrifying instances of crimes against women across the country. And this is something that perhaps has been overshadowed by the Sushant Singh Rajput coverage and by the death case. Nobody's really focused on the issues of the crimes against women and the barbaric incidents that have come to light across the country. Let me highlight some of these. In the state of Kerala, there have been 2 incidents of alleged rapes, both of COVID patients being allegedly raped by healthcare workers. These particular incidents has triggered a lot of outrage in the state of Kerala. But it's not just in Kerala. There are several other incidents. For example, in Muzaffarnagar, you've got in fact a 22-year-old woman who was strangled to death by her husband over dowry issues. Incidents of minors also being targeted. There was one that came to light in Uttar Pradesh's Gorakhpur, where a class 7 student was raped by the school manager. Another incident that I want to quickly read out here is in Odisha, a minor who was gang raped by 8. This particular incident was horrifying, the details of which I don't want to go into because they're really scary to say the least, and heartbreaking to really think about the ordeal that the minor had to go through. These are just some of the incidents of the crimes against women that have happened in the last few weeks that perhaps we should be focusing more on and ensure that there is justice also for the victims and their families. These 6 issues that I highlighted, be it economy, be it issues like rising prices or crimes against women, these are issues that have been perhaps overshadowed in the last few months by what's happening in the Sushant Singh Rajput death case. And our intent with this video is to put some of the focus back on these burning issues in the country. We need to continue to keep this narrative forward and ensure that there is a discussion on issues that matter to you and me.